Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Sabah al-Khair. We are very happy to have today here Dr. Mostafa Al-Saghir, the General Director of Karnak Temples and the Avenue of the Sphinx. And we would like to ask him some questions, which we think most of the people would love to ask you, if you don't mind. First of all, thank you so much for being here at CAMNES today. We are really proud to have you here and to have the chance to interview you and to ask some questions. So thank you, first of all.
Thank you for everything that you are did, and it's really my pleasure to be here.
Thanks, thank you. So first question I would like to ask you is something quite easy, but at the same time something which I think people are really interested to know, because it's a question that they always ask to Egyptologists. And in your case, it's going to be the same. Like, why did you choose to study Egyptology, and why? How did you end up with Karnak Temple? Because I know that it's really dear to your heart, Karnak Temple. So,
yes, in fact, I was born in Luxor, of course, and it is in Karnak area, which is exactly in front of Karnak Temple. And imagine that everything surrounding me really like these great monuments like Karnak. If I look to the other side of the Nile, Theban necropolis.
yes.
So I grow up with this kind of monuments and temples. And also there is a kind of a specific event had been happened during my life, of course, when I was kid, that my father discovered the Luxor cachet. It's one of the most important discovery in Luxor for the last century. And I was there checking all things happening, the excavation, all the discoveries, these magnificent statues that had been discovered. So it really affected in my life. So since this time, I fall in love with Egyptology and archaeology. Even that my father at the beginning said that maybe Egyptology is not that good for you. Maybe you can find something really...
He was trying to convince you to escape from Egyptology.
Yeah, but in fact that I found that I really like and love Egyptology and archaeology. So I decided to be like this, and yeah, where I am.
Yes, thank you. And so in Karnak Temples, it's really a huge area, and there are so many ongoing projects there. But I know not all of them, most of them, but I would like to know from your point of view, which one is your favorite or most important or most interesting for you, and why?
Of course, it is the project of the Avenue Sphinx. Because first of all, that I start my career there for the first time as an archaeologist.
When did you start there?
It was 1998.
Yeah.
So I started like an Egyptologist working there in the Avenue Sphinx. And then I worked there at the beginning for almost like 12 years. And our dream of life is to, once that we can see all Avenue Sphinx discovered and open for the public, and to reveal all things of the Avenue Sphinx. But it took really years and years. Even it was the dream of my father, because he was sharing and discovering some parts of the Avenue Sphinx. And then I was honored in 2017 to be the head of this project, to continue what my father and others also were doing there in the Avenue Sphinx. And I'm really honored to be the last one who's opened the Avenue Sphinx and to prepare everything in 25th of November 2021. So it was a kind of very important thing, especially that Avenue Sphinx is really a special place. It's kind of a road connecting Karnak and Luxor temples with a length of 2,700 meters. And it consists of 1,057 statues. Not only sphinxes, but also we have other discoveries, like we have wine press, we have a nilometer, we have many places as a factories for making the pottery and other stuff. So it reflects mainly all the economic life, the cultural, social activities of the ancient Egyptians during this time.
Yeah, around the temples, yeah. And I remember we have seen on TV the magnificent event of the opening of the Avenue of the Sphinx. And also there was like a revival of the ancient Opet festival. And we have seen with the boat and everything. But I know that there is also a modern connection with this event. There is something which is still reflecting the modern society there in Luxor. Do you want to tell us something about this? I think it's really, really interesting.
Yes, of course, because the importance of this project also is to reviving the ancient Egyptian life through the Avenue Sphinx. Because Avenue Sphinx, it's a place where the great processions comes from Karnak to Luxor. So we have many festivals and many rituals have been done in this part, which we found that it still continues till today, because we have a mosque above Luxor Temple of Abu al-Hajjaj, and we found out that all the ceremonies of celebration of his birthday exactly looks like the Opet.
Yeah, that was really impressive for me to know that, that the Mosque of Abu al-Hajjaj is inside the Luxor Temple, and they're still following those kind of, let's say, rituals. You were telling me that there were also like formulas given, and then they have some special like dance.
Exactly. First of all, that the one of boat, because of course that the boat of Amun comes out from Karnak to Luxor.
Yes.
Exactly the same for the boat of Abu al-Hajjaj. It starts from front of the temple and also the mosque of Abu al-Hajjaj to have a specific tour all around in Luxor street, and they have to follow this route till the end of the festival. Not only this, but also this kind of celebration with the stick, also to say some rituals, some
formulas?
Some formulas during this festival. And then we found out that this kind of event, they didn't look for the inscriptions of Luxor Temple to imitate it, because it was already under debris.
Okay, so
it was continuing since the old times till time of Abu al-Hajjaj, and it had been continuing till now. So it's
amazing.
kind of reviving the heritage of Luxor, and since the ancient times till now.
Yeah, it's really beautiful to see this strong connection between, ancient Egypt and modern Luxor there. It's really beautiful to see that.
And that's the reason that while we are making the inauguration of the Avenue Sphinx, we imitate exactly the same ceremonies of the ancient times of Opet in the Avenue Sphinx.
Yeah, it was really magnificent seeing it on TV, yeah. And also connected with this, we have seen indeed modernity connected with ancient time. But what if there have been many changes, of course, in the site management in Karnak temples? What if, for example, I would have been there like 10 years ago, and I would come back now? What would be the main changes I would see in the temple?
Yeah, of course, many things. In fact, when you enter Karnak temples, that you will see a big difference. First of all, that we have many archaeological projects, many discoveries, many restoration projects. But I can mention you something really specific. First of all, that in 2018, the Egyptian president, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, nominate this year to be year of accessibility for the people with disabilities. So we make this kind of project to be implemented in Karnak temples. It was really hard task because Karnak Temple is considered to be one of the biggest temples in Egypt, really huge.
There are different paths.
Of course. And then we make kind of accessibility for the people with disabilities, especially with the wheelchairs, like this. Starting from the visitor center at the beginning, and then Karnak Plaza, and also all different parts in Karnak Temple. So now you can see that all temples inside Karnak had been connected in order to be accessible for the people with disabilities.
Okay, it's all completely accessible.
Yes.
Wow,
yeah, exactly.
This is really a big improvement.
Yeah, and then we put the international code for the accessibility to be implemented also in other temples
Yeah.
in Egypt.
Yeah, that's what I wanted also was gonna be my following question. Like, what about the rest? Like on the West Bank, on the Theban necropolis, I imagine it's much more complicated to have those kind of special path. But is there like a project? Is there a protocol that?
Yes, indeed. Even that we start with Karnak Temple, but there is kind of agreement for all the sites to be accessible like this, especially that we have to follow the international code of accessibility in order to make this kind of change.
And what about Luxor Museum? Is it accessible also?
Yes.
Okay.
That was in the second part of place should be accessible. Luxor Temple now it's accessible. Also other places. And as you said in the Theban necropolis, some parts in the King's Valley.
Yeah, okay. Because I imagine it's more complicated there because the area is not like like a temple so to go from one tomb to the other, sometimes you have to climb.
Yes, indeed.
And,
of course, not all are accessible, but some parts already accessible.
Okay.
Madinat Habu also the same.
It's also accessible.
Yeah. So this kind of projects start to be spread not only on Luxor but also on other sites in Egypt.
Okay. So the intention is to eventually try to make at least, I mean, not 100% of the site, but at least a big part of them accessible for everyone.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that's really
also, one of the projects that you can easily see in all Luxor is the project of the visual identity of Luxor. This kind of project had been started also in 2018, and it had been delivered in 2021 with the inauguration of the Avenue Sphinx. It is not only kind of slogan of Luxor should be written everywhere, but it's kind of a whole project can give services for all the tourists and also for the people of Luxor themselves. For instance, inside the archaeological areas, we give many facilities and many kind of services for the people who are visiting monuments, such as main gates for the archaeological site. We have this kind of shades and umbrellas, especially in Karnak and other places. We have the seats, some kiosks for the security, something for trash to be separated and to be
so there's going to be like huge effort on site management in all Luxor area.
Exactly.
Really
also the panels explaining and everything.
Yeah.
So this kind of project also started on Luxor as a first place, and then Aswan is finished later, Sharm el-Sheikh and other places in Alexandria also, and then they will continue to have each city in Egypt should have its own identity.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great. A lot of work.
Yes.
Many more years to come to accomplish everything, but yes, Mabruk, because it really looks different. Luxor, I came back after a few years and last year, and I've seen so many changes in positive, of course. So it's really amazing.
You will see many new things there when you will come to Luxor.
But amongst all these new projects and things you're doing there, of course, you are the general director there of Karnak Temples. And do you have in those temples a favorite spot, like a favorite place where you like maybe to go, or your favorite one, and why is it your favorite?
Well, I can tell you like the Open Air Museum in Karnak, one of my favorite spots.
Can you explain, what's the Open Air Museum? What's the concept of Open Air Museum to people?
Of course. So, at the beginning of last century, when the archaeologists start to discover many parts in Karnak Temple, they found many inscribed blocks, which scattered all around, and then they start to study them, also to put some joints together and to make reconstruction. At this time, and especially in 1934, they start to choose this area, which is the northern west corner of Karnak, to select many of these objects to be displayed there in order to be studied and that they can also reconstruct it in this part. At 1937, the people who are working there, the Egyptologists, start to make reconstruction of the white shrine of Senusert I, which is considered to be one of the masterpiece in the ancient Egyptian art. If you can see for the inscriptions and the details are really, really fine there. And then not only the white shrine, but also the red shrine of Hatshepsut. We had found many of these blocks there, and then we start to make the shrine again reconstructed. In 2004, we have that magnificent alabaster shrines of Amenhotep I and also Thutmose the Fourth, and the courtyard of Thutmose the Fourth, other monuments of Amenhotep IV, not Akhenaton, while he's in Luxor. So it's kind of place that you can see around many examples of the ancient Egyptian masterpiece of inscriptions around you. And also this place is really quiet with this kind of trees. And so it really, when I need to have this kind of special moments to think about something important or to finish some depression or something like this, I prefer to go there.
That's lovely, thank you. And this is your favorite spot. And then, of course, you're always there in the temples and you also see many tourists passing by. And what do you think? I think you have noticed this. What's the favorite spot for people coming to visit the amazing Karnak temples there?
Yeah, of course, Karnak Temple is full of temples and many parts are really important. But I can see that all the tourists, mainly, they are focusing in the Great Hypostyle Hall.
Yes, I imagine that it's also my favorite spot.
Yes, because first of all, that it is one of the most magnificent place. We are speaking about 134 columns of papyrus, really big, huge, with many inscriptions, especially after the restoration project that we were making last 2 years, which is almost finishing now. Just 2 months ago, we finished cleaning all the inscriptions there. And then we found out that there is many original colors still in the inscriptions. It had been covered by the dust and so, but when it had been cleaned, it's really nice. And also, we covered quarter of this hypostyle hall with a ceiling, wooden ceiling, in order to imitate the ancient one. Also for protection of this kind of inscriptions, and the new colors had been found. So it became one of the most attractive place for the tourists to come to stay there in Karnak. One should feel that he's really small if you compare with this kind of
that's really the feeling when you enter the hypostyle hall, that you feel so small compared to these magnificent columns there.
That's the reason that we can see that all the tourists would like to go there to take some pictures and to see this kind of very nice place.
It's really beautiful. Thank you. And well, we know that there are so many projects there in Karnak, and you are always so busy with different tasks. But I think, I'm curious, and I think people are also curious about this. Especially, it's a question they always ask me, and I think even more to you, they would ask, like, how does a normal, if we can call normal, day look like in your work? I mean, there are so many things you have to take care about. There are many different projects. How is your daily, just a normal day there in Karnak temples?
Yeah, of course, not every day is the same, especially in Karnak. Every day we have something new there. Yeah. But mainly we can say that we start our work there at Karnak more or less at 7 o'clock at morning. First thing to do is to check that everything in order. The site is really well prepared to receive the visitors, and then also we start our work as an excavation or restoration, and everything could start really early at 6 or even 7.
So there are some parts which are forbidden for tourists to go because there are like ongoing projects.
Yeah, exactly, some parts, and then mainly I make a tour in Karnak at the beginning to see that everything in order. All the work is going on perfectly. And then later, of course, maybe I can meet some of my colleagues to set that all work is going on perfectly. Sometimes we have time to make kind of scientific discussions about specific points.
Yeah.
Also that, of course, we have to make administration work. That's which is really normal to do. Sometimes we have very important visits, especially Karnak is considered to be one of the most important places to be visited. Sometimes we have president or ambassadors or ministers comes to visit Karnak. So one of our duties is to receive them and to explain the most important parts in Karnak for this. Also, our day will not be end till we make another tour in Karnak to check that everything is going perfectly, smoothly, and all services are given to the tourists and also for archaeologists, conservators, and everything.
Yeah, of course. And there are like, what's one of the projects which are coming soon? I mean, I know that there are many projects, we say that, but there are like some other projects you want to accomplish soon or new. I know that there are like important collaboration now with the Chinese government. Are there some projects that they are going to be started soon or you want to accomplish in the coming future?
Yes, indeed. If I speak about Karnak itself, we have almost like 14 international archaeological missions working there. Some of them are as for the conservation, others only study the inscriptions, others make excavation. We have collaboration with the Chinese to have the first Egyptian-Chinese archaeological mission working there in Montu Temple, north of Karnak. We have also other nationalities, of course, like the French. They have the Franco-Egyptian Center studying Karnak temples. We have many Americans missions. We have English. We have, many of them working there. Spanish also. One of the upcoming projects is to continue make the site management plans in different sites in Karnak, especially for the blocks which are stored in the mastabas in Karnak, to study all of these kind of blocks and to start to make them joining together, or at least to know its original place and where to be put.
Yes.
Also the work of making other storerooms for the Talatat blocks, which belongs to King Akhenaton. So many projects should be in the future, and I can tell you, like, Karnak will stay working on for hundreds of years. We have still a lot of work to do for generations as excavation and restoration and the study also of Karnak.
I see, thank you. So even thank you so much, because of course I know that there are so many ongoing projects there and your presence there is really important. So it's really appreciated the fact that you could take some time to come here and tell us what you're doing there, what are your projects. So once again, thank you so much, Dr. Al-Saghir, for being here, and thank you for telling us, all of us, what you're doing there daily in Karnak. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Hi guys, if you want to discover more about archaeology and our ancient past from a different perspective, make sure to click on the CAMNES logo here below. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you will never miss an episode and join the archaeological community in search of the truth.